For a 5K. She ran 7/8 mile on Monday and 5/6 mile on Wednesday. How much farther did she run on Monday? So when we take a look at this board problem, what we need to do is we need to look at our key word that tells us what our operation is going to be. And it says how much further. So what operation does how much further mean that we do? How much further means that we subtract. Now, remember, when I add or subtract fractions, what do I have to have? A common denominator. So let's take a look at our two denominators, 8 and 6, and see what the common denominator between the two of them is. So for 8, we have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. For 6, we have 6, 12, 18, 24. And I'm going to stop right there because I see 24 right here, and I see 24 right here. After that, we find the common denominator, and we have to figure out how to get 8 to 24. So how do you get from 8 to 24? We would multiply by 1, 2, 3. So we multiply that times 3. And if I multiply 8 times 3, what else do I need to multiply by 3? 7. So I would have 7 times 3. And then for 6, we would multiply 6 by what? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I multiply 6 by 4, what else do I multiply times 4? 5. So 7 times 3 is 21. And then 8 times 3 gives me 24. And this is supposed to be subtraction. And then we have 5 times 4, which gives us 20. And we have 6 times 4, which gives us 24. And then we can subtract the numerator, so it's 21 minus 20, which gives us 1, and then 20, and then we keep the denominators the same, so our denominator is 24. So she ran 1/24 longer on Monday than she did on Wednesday. All right, this says add or subtract. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my least common denominator. So we have 2. And we have 9. So it goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And then for 9, we have 9, 18. And I'm going to stop right there because I see a common denominator of 18. When we do this, we multiply 2 times what to get to 18? 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we would do 2 times 9. And if I multiply 2 times 9, what else do I multiply times 9? The 1 times 9. And then for our 9, we would multiply that by what? 1, 2. So I'll come over here and I'll multiply my 9 times 2. And then if I multiply 9 times 2, what else do I multiply by 2? 2. Okay, so when we rewrite this, we would have 10, and then 1 times 9 is 9, and then 2 times 9 is 18, plus 9, and I would do 2 times 2, which gives me 4, and then 9 times 2, which gives me 18. At this point, I will add my whole numbers, so 10 plus 9 gives me 1, and then 9 plus 4, I'll add my numerators together. 9 plus 4 gives me 13 over 18. All right, we're adding these here. So my first step is to find my least common denominator. So I have 8 and I have 5. 8 goes 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. 5 goes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So I'm going to stop there because my least common denominator is going to be 40. And how do we get from 8 to 40? We multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we multiply that by 5. And if we multiply 8 by 5, what else do we multiply by 5? The 1. Then to get from 5 to 40, I would multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll multiply my 5 times 8. And then what would I multiply? What else would I multiply times 8? My 3. So my least common denominator is 40. And then I'll rewrite my fractions. I would start with 3 And then I have my 1 times my 5, which gives me 5. And then my 8 times my 5, which gives me 40. And then I write down my 6 again, and I have 3 times 8, which gives me 24. And then 5 times 8, which gives me 40. I start by adding my whole numbers together, so 3 plus 6 gives me 9, and then I add my numerators together, so I have 5 plus 24, which gives me 29 over 40. Now we have 7 and 1/6 minus 4 and 2/3. Remember, when we add or subtract fractions, what do we have to have? A common denominator, so I'm going to look at 6 and 3. For 3, I have 3 and then 6, and I'm going to stop there because there's my common denominator. It's 6. How do we get from 3 to 6? We multiply times 2. And, oops, sorry, wrong one. And then if I multiply 3 times 2, what else do I multiply times 2? The 2. So I rewrite this. I have 7. We keep the 1/6 as it is because my least common denominator is 6. So I have 7 and 1/6 minus I have 4, and then 2 times 2 gives me 4, and then 3 times 2 gives me 6. Now, if we take a look at our fractions, what we have going on here is I would have to do 1 minus 4. I can't do 1 minus 4. It's going to give me a negative number, right? So we have two options here. We can either regroup or we can do the Texas method. I'm going to teach you guys how to regroup. So I'm going to take this from a 7 and knock it down to a 6. When I do that, I now take my denominator and add it to my numerator to give me 1 plus 6 over 6 minus 4 and 4/6. So that gives me 6 and 7/6 over 4 minus 4 and 4/6. And when I subtract that, I would have 7 minus 4, which equals 3, and keep my denominator of 6, and then I have my 6 minus my 4, which gives me 2. This 3/6 is going to simplify because both 3 and 6 are divisible by what? 3. And that's going to give me 2 and 1/2. The other way that you could have done that would be the Texas method, and I'll show that to you in just a second if this way over here confused you, okay? All right, so I have 3 and 3/4 minus 1 and 4/5, sorry. So whenever I add or subtract fractions, what do I have to have? A least common denominator. So I have 4 and 5. 4 gives me 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. 5 is 5, 10, 15, 20, and I'm going to stop right there because I have a 20 here and a 20 here. Now to get from 4 to 20, what would I multiply by? This would be times 5. So I'll multiply this 4 right here times 5, and if I multiply that 4 by 5, what else do I have to multiply by 5? This 3 right here. Then I have, what would I multiply the 5 by? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would multiply this 5 right here by 4, and what else would I multiply by 4? My 4 on top. So my least common denominator is 20, and we'll rewrite this as 3, and then I have 3 times 5, which gives me 15, over 4 times 5, which gives me 20. Then I have still my 1, and then I have 4 times 4, which gives me 16, and then 5 times 4, which gives me 20. Now, if you notice, we have this same problem again where I'm doing 15 minus 16, and I can't do that. So I'm going to show you another way to do it now called the Texas method. Now, the Texas method is where we go around the world and we land in Texas. So I start here with 20 times 3. Now, 20 times 3 is going to give me 60. Then I would keep going and I would add 60 plus 15. And 60 plus 15 is going to give me 75 over my same denominator of 20. Then I would subtract. We would start with this one with Texas, remember? So we'd start with 20 times 1. 20 times 1 gives me 20. And then I have to add my numerator, which is 16. So 20 plus 16. And that's going to give me 36. And then we keep it over 20. So now I have 75 minus 36. That turns into a 15. That turns into a 6. 15 minus 6 gives me 9. And then 6 minus 3 gives me 3. And that gives me 39 over 20. Now the Texas method is easier, I think, to subtract with because you don't have to do the regrouping. However, at the end when you do the Texas method, it's going to make it to where you have to divide to turn it back into a mixed number. So we're going to divide. When we have 39 divided by 20, 20 goes into 39 one time. 1 times 20 is 20, subtract, and that gives me 19. So my whole number is going to be this 1 right here. And then my numerator is going to be the 19, and my denominator is going to be 20. This one says, Marissa had 1 7/8 bags of chips. Sydney had 2 2/3 bags of chips. How many bags of chips did they have together? So we see this word together. What does that mean? We add them. So remember, when we add or subtract fractions, what do we have to have? A least common denominator. So I have 8 and I have 3. 8 is going to be 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. 3 is going to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. And I'm going to stop right there because now I see 24 and 24. And how do you get from 8 to 24? We multiply by 3. So I'll multiply this 8 by here by 3. And if I multiply 8 times 3, I also need to multiply 7 times 3. What would we multiply 3 by to get to 24? 8. And if I multiply this 3 times 8, what else do I need to multiply times 8? 2 right there. So I would rewrite this. My common denominator is 24. And I would have 1. And 7 times 3 right here gives me 21. And then 8 times 3 gives me 24. And then I have plus this over here. So I have 2. And then 2 times 8 gives me 16. And then 3 times 8 gives me 24. I'm going to add my whole numbers together. So 1 and 2. And 1 and 2 gives me 3. And then I would do 21 plus 16, which is going to give me 37 over 24. Now, I have an improper fraction here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to keep my 3, and then I'm going to figure out what this is as a mixed number by dividing it. So I would do 37 divided by 24. This goes into it once. 1 times 24 is 24. Subtract, and that gives me 13. So my whole number is the 1, and then I have a numerator of 13, and then a denominator of 24. Now I'll add 3 plus 1, which gives me 4, and then I have 13 over 24. Okay, how many more bags of chips did Sydney have than Marissa? How many more means we do what operation? We subtract. So now, this time we're just going to subtract those same fractions. Well, we know that the least common denominator is 24, and then this time, Sydney has more bags of chips, so we're going to put hers first. So that was this mixed number that was right here, which is 2 and 16 24ths minus 1 and 21 24ths. I'm going to do the Texas method again because I find that to be the easiest way, so I'm going to go around the world and land in Texas. 24 times 2 gives me 48. And then I have 48 plus 16, and that's going to give me 64 over 24. Minus, go around the world, and we land in Texas. I start with 24 times 1, which is 24. And then I do 24 plus 21, and that gives me 45. Now I can subtract. I have 64 minus 45. This 4 turns into a 14. This 6 turns into a 5. 14 minus 5 gives me 9. And then 5 minus 4 gives me 1. So it's going to give me 19 over 24. All right, this one says classify the numbers negative 64 by naming the set or sets to which it belongs. Now, 64 can be divided by 4. But if you didn't know that, you could see that 64 and 4 are both divisible by 2. But I'm just going to show you 64 divided by 4. 64 divided by 4, 4 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtracting that gives me 2. Drop down my 4, and 4 goes into 24 16 times. So this right here equals negative 16. Now, which sets does negative 16 belong to? Rational and integer. And the question is, why is this not a natural or a whole number? Because why? It's negative. All right, that's it.